Hi, everyone. Here we are. It's Wickedly Fun Wednesday, and we are going to read Chapter 5 of the Alexis Snipperdoom series, Book 1, Power Plays. If you haven't already seen videos 1 through 4, be sure to check it out on our Facebook or head over to YouTube, and the other 4 chapters are already there. So here we go. Chapter 5, New Beginnings. Shanatar sat quietly at the table, looking through a variety of old dusty books. He could not believe Zandora left like that without any kind of notice. What was she thinking? He thought about Armbruster and the fact he probably told Alexis everything they'd hidden from her. She was probably aggravated by now. He missed watching her eyes widen right before she would scream or laugh. He missed many things about her. He missed her pouty smile. Well, he'd missed everything. He told himself he loved Zandora. It was easier this way. For everyone. Yeah, he was being a good friend to all, or so he wanted to believe. He shoved one of the books off the table onto the floor. He was miserable. He tried for years to forget about Alexis. Now she had a child, though it was not his. It was Armbruster's child, his best friend. It was difficult to accept. Suddenly he felt enormous guilt. Was it his fault the baby had been kidnapped? Was it that someone knew? Was it that somebody knew he still loved Alexis? Did any of this have to do with him, or perhaps even Zandora? He had so many questions. Still angry, he walked to the fireplace and threw a book into the flames. He watched as it caught fire and burned. He wondered why it made him feel so much better. He laughed out loud, alone, all alone, in the dark room. He snatched his chant robe from the chair and headed to the next room to meet with the other warlocks. He wanted to ensure all was being done to protect Alexis and Zandora. He wanted Lila found as well. These were difficult circumstances. However, he knew things were going to work out. He feared someone else might hurt her before it was all said and done. He was terrified at the thought it would be Zandora to get hurt. He pushed the thought out of his head as he opened the door to the meeting room. It only took seconds. The pain hurt so great. He closed his eyes and fell onto the floor. His eyes fluttered, about to close, as he looked up briefly and saw him. Logan was smiling down at him with a wicked smile, his statuesque and muscular body towering over him, looking ever so smug, his bold blue eyes dancing with delight as he watched Shanatar pass out. It was the last thing Shanatar remembered before becoming unconscious. Someone put him over on that large couch. Logan pointed to a large brown couch by the wall. Hurry up, I want him tied up. I do not want him to get away, ordered Logan. Sir, I'm not sure he's still alive. He's bleeding a lot. What should we do? Shall we fix him manually or perform a spell? Asked Marcus as he watched the blood running off Shanatar's head, dripping onto the floor. Check on him. Keep him alive. I need him. Do whatever it takes. Logan walked to take a look at Shanatar sprawled on the couch. He looked okay. What was Marcus worried about? A little blood never hurt anyone. He was a warlock. It wasn't like he would die so easily. He was still breathing. Logan could not help but smile as he looked at the vulnerable being passed out and not being able to defend himself. Well, I'm off to find the book in the attic. Get him cleaned up and put him in a new robe. He looks nasty. I despise the look of blood. Clean it up, growled Logan. He stormed out of the room and headed to the attic. He wanted to spend some time searching the library for the book. He knew there was a slim chance he would find it. Nonetheless, he was going to try. Not too long ago, he discovered the missing spell of concealment in an ancient book. Everyone believed the book had been destroyed. It had been his most precious discovery to date. He was quite proud of himself and wanted to search the entire library for other potentially wonderful spells. Little did anyone know he had many spells in the attic, and he would use them as he needed. A huge grin covered his face, thinking about the things he could unleash upon the others with the spells he was waiting to be used. Spell power was a great gift, and he planned to use it a lot. Logan entered the makeshift library in the attic. The attic room was dark and cold. There were no windows or other exits, just one rusty metal door. The area was well organized. It contained an extensive number of books, some very old, brittle, falling apart. The shelves made of wood bowed from the heavy weight of the books. The room was also neglected and dirty, coated in dust and full of cobwebs, courtesy of a covey, an earthly-looking spider. Giant piles of papers filled an entire wall, stacked from the floor to ceiling. Logan attempted to scour through them to see what they were. He assumed they were someone's notes, probably worthless information. We walked from one bookshelf to another, searching for the right book. Where was that black book with silver print, he wondered. He remembered seeing it a while back. He was sure it was here someplace. It could not just have disappeared. Perplexed, he walked to the boxes in the corner and rummaged through those. He'd previously tried to use his magic to locate the book, but was unsuccessful. It was bizarre. Not one of his spells seemed to work. Why was his magic not working? Was someone blocking his abilities? He was livid. Logan continued frantically to search through boxes and shelves. Nothing. Where was that book? Just as he was about to give up, he came across an interesting book. It was bright red, with bold gold embossed letters. The book simply read, Enchantment. A simple title, he thought. He sat down on a nearby stool and flipped open the large book. As he was looking through the various chapters, he realized the pages were still in excellent condition. One of the chapters caught his attention. Concealment. He flipped to chapter 9. He ran his crooked long finger down the page until he found the word. Suppression. Instantly, he grinned from ear to ear. Victory, he thought. Shanatar tried to open his eyes. His head pounded. There was a screeching noise in his ears, making him violently nauseous. He forced himself to open his eyes one by one. Slowly, he opened them, attempting to squint just enough to see. He spotted a fireplace, though it was extremely blurry. He could hear faint voices, possibly in another room. He struggled to move, but felt tied down. Frustrated, he looked around, trying to survey his surroundings. It became clear to him he was still in the same building as before. He wondered, what happened? Had he seen Logan? What was going on? Shanatar tried again to sit up. With much effort, he eventually managed to do so. Instantly, his head pounded louder than before. Boom, boom, boom. Pounding, aching, louder. His head hurt. He licked his lips and tasted blood. He swallowed hard. Trying to focus, though it was extremely difficult. Quickly, he realized he was tied up and could not move. He could not stand up without falling. He quietly strained to think. It was proving very difficult with such a massive headache. Suddenly, things started to become clearer. He recalled putting on the cloak, walking into the room, then being hit over the head. It was Logan's face he remembered the most, smiling down at him in an almost evil way. What happened? Just as he was about to yell for help, he heard two voices getting louder as if they were approaching. He decided to lie back down and pretend he was still knocked out. He slowed his breathing and closed his eyes. Seems like Prince Charming is still sleeping, noted Adoran. He smiled as he looked down at Shanatar. What a fool! I'm glad Logan is taking care of all the weaklings. Yes, we certainly do not need anyone in our clan that cannot or does not want to help Logan regain power. Worthless, growled Barton as he looked at Shanatar's body. Barton touched Shanatar's forehead. He's getting a bit hot. Do you think he's okay? Logan does not want him dead. What should we do? Leave him. He will be fine. We must retrieve the potion from the witch. It should be ready. We do not want to upset Logan again. This one is tied up. He's not going anywhere. Okay, if you think so, let's head out. The two warlocks left the chamber. The moment they were gone, Shanatar sat up. Again, the familiar pounding in his head. His vision was still a bit blurry. He looked around to see if he could find any weapons. He saw a small object glistening on a nearby table by the fireplace. He dropped down onto the floor and scooted towards it. There, he looked up at the table to see the object, resembling a knife. He tried to grab it with his mouth. It took 4 tries, but eventually he held it in his mouth. He dropped it onto the floor while scooting closer. Finally, he was able to grab it with his right hand, and quickly he rubbed it back and forth. He was able to cut the ties on his wrists. Success! He was free. He used the object to cut through the leg ties as well. Once he was completely untied, he stood up. His legs felt weak and shaky. He walked to the couch to sit down. Oh, what was we going to do? He put his hand on his head. Instantly, he felt wetness. He pulled back his hand and saw the dark red blood. Nervously, he walked to the chair and grabbed his cloak. He placed it on his head, hoping to absorb some of the blood. After some time, it seemed that the bleeding had stopped. He walked to where he had been sitting and grabbed the ties. He threw them and the cloak into the fireplace. No need to leave evidence behind, he thought. He walked towards the large door. He propped his head up against it to listen. He heard nothing and felt it was safe to try to escape. Cautiously, he opened the door. He peered around the corner to look for others. Nothing. There was no one to be seen or heard. He walked into the corridor, looking down both ways. Which way? Which way should I go? He wondered. He decided out is definitely best. So he walked as quickly as he could outside, though his legs felt rubbery. His head still ached, and he felt queasy. Upstairs in the attic, Logan smiled. He knew what he had to do next. He also knew he would need help to complete the next step. Obviously, he would take the lead, but the requirement of assistance was needed. He disliked the idea of relying for others for help, but he would do it. Logan placed the book inside his cloak's large side pocket and walked down the stairs. He proceeded toward the great chamber. Where are the idiots Barton and Adoran? They were supposed to be watching him. He became enraged. If they took him, they will die. Shanatar had gotten away. They would die. Either way, they would die. His forehead scrunched in anger. He violently slammed down his scepter and disappeared. Alexis looked at Ariana, waiting for a reply. Well, what do you think? She asked in a demanding tone. Well, I think it doesn't really matter what I think. What matters is that you're happy with your decision. I did not make you my second in command to have you act indecisive. Make up your mind and say so. I'm not in the mood. You're either going to give me your personal opinion or there is no need for you to continue to be my second in command, yelled Alexis, making her point. Alexis, I only meant you need to do what you feel is appropriate. It is not up to me what to tell you what to do. Listen, if I wanted someone weak and indecisive, I would have put Armbruster in charge as my second in command. I put you in the position because you've always told me your opinion. Why change now? I must tell you, I do not like the sight of you. Alexis walked to the fireplace and turned her back to Ariana, her arms crossed in disgust, tapping her foot. Very well, then. I will tell you how I feel. Alexis spun around quickly to look at Ariana. She smiled at Alexis. I think it is a great plan. I think it will show everyone what you're capable of doing and that you're not going to accept anything other than their complete loyalty. I believe you need to act quickly, though. Armbruster is trying to gain support. I believe he's trying to overthrow your power. What? Are you sure? I am very sure. Your loving husband suddenly wants to be in charge again, talking with warlocks about changes. I think you need to be careful. He's going to betray you. Ariana, be careful. You're accusing my husband of treason. Your Royal Highness, I am very well aware of what I'm saying. I'm also aware of all the consequences of my words. However, I vow to protect you and this planet. I have many spies. I was told Armbruster was doing many things, mostly aimed at regaining power. That underhanded, traitorous, backstabbing liar! How dare he! I need immediate proof, Ariana. We must put an abrupt stop to these actions. With everything that's going on right now, this is what he's worried about? Unbelievable. I tell you what, he will be sorry he did this. He will regret this until his last breath of his existence. Alexis raised her scepter, closed her eyes, and slammed down the scepter as she chanted. She vanished. Ariana looked around. For a moment, she was upset, but then an evil grin surfaced on her face. It had worked. Everything would change now for sure. She would do anything to cause a rift between Alexis and Armbruster. She wanted to be next to Alexis when this was all said and done, and not Armbruster. Armbruster listened attentively as he heard a tale that made him sick to his stomach. So much betrayal, so many lies. Why? What for? He shook his head. Could he trust anyone? Yarlin looked at Armbruster and felt sorry for him. He could only imagine how Armbruster must feel. His own wife betraying him. How horrible. He smiled nervously at Armbruster, who proceeded to stand up and pace back and forth, shaking his fist. Are you sure? He kept asking Porty. Yes, sir, I am sure. I heard it with my own ears. She's planning to do it tonight. Well, she was before the child was taken. I'm not sure if she still plans it for tonight or not, but she might postpone it now. I don't know, Porty replied. I want you to get Ariana. I want her brought here. Bring her alive. Do you understand me, Porty? Yes, your majesty. It shall be done. Porty ordered the guards to accompany him as he set out to retrieve Ariana. He knew it would be a challenge. She would not come quietly nor willingly. She would use magic. They would need to be prepared and bring the mesmer scepters. Sir, are you sure we can trust Porty? Asked Yarlin. Without a doubt. He has been loyal. He would not lie. No offense, sir, but many have betrayed you recently. How do we know he can be trusted? I cast a respect spell when he started sharing his details. It was the only way I could ensure he was being honest. Very clever. No wonder you're such a great leader. Always ahead of the game. No, not this time. I was totally unaware of her lies and her deceit. I cannot believe she was going to have me removed. Who does she think she is? I have too many powerful friends and warlocks on my side. She does not stand a chance. She's lost her mind. Perhaps it was the childbirth? Do you think it made her the way that she is? Questioned Yarlin, looking for a reaction from Armbruster. No, she's always been this way. Now she's just power hungry. She believes I will stand in her way since I will not allow her to run me or do harmful things. She believes that this is how it needs to be. I am sure she knows I will not go willingly. I am deeply saddened. My beautiful wife. A treasonous witch. I'm going to put a stop to this, once and for all. I've always felt that this new leadership idea was an irrational one. I should not have agreed. I wanted to please her, make her happy. Look at what I did. I created a monster. Armbruster looked defeated. He had tears in his eyes. A loud pounding knock on the chamber door interrupted Armbruster's thoughts. Come in, he shouted. Sir, we have found Kalan, announced the security commoner. Well, that is great news. Bring him to me immediately. Sir, he's dead. What? Tell me what happened, commanded Armbruster. Sir, they found him in the river of Mackay. He's dead. Let's just leave it at that. I want him. Bring him to the palace at once. Yes, your majesty. We will do so immediately. I will notify you once he's in visitation hall. Fine, you do that, grumbled Armbruster. What do you think about that, Yarland? What happened to him? Who do you think did that to that poor boy? Sir, my guess is it has something to do with the queen. I'm trying to be respectful, but I believe it may have something to do with her plan. You're right. She probably is responsible. I sure would like to know why, though. I will confront and ask her. Sir, I don't think that's a great idea. I do not think we should let her know we are onto our plan. Once again, Yarlin, you're very wise. Thank you for thinking clearly when I cannot. My mind is confused. I miss my child, and I'm horrified by my wife's actions, and I'm worried about her sister in Shanatar. Sir, why don't you get some rest? I promise to inform you the minute they bring Kalan. Shall I inform Eston? Oh, no, absolutely not. Eston has been a loyal worker and friend. I will tell him later, much later, after I rest a bit. Tell the others no one is to say a word about Kalan. Is that clear? Yes, sir, I shall obey, and I will ensure you are the one to announce his death. Yarlin left the chamber and headed to his room. He wanted to conduct some research on spells that could be used on Alexis, if need be. He knew this was part of the plan to destroy Armbruster's leadership and subsequently allow her to gain control over all of Alstromia. Armbruster headed to his personal chamber. There he sat on the bed, peering out the window. He saw pouring rain running down the window. He loathed rain. The thought depressed him further. He missed the sunshine and warmth on his face, wishing he was back on Earth with his friends. He loved and preferred the smells on Earth. He loved Earth's four seasons. He realized for the first time he truly hated Elstromia. Alexis had ruined everything. Why was she doing this? Why could she have just not left things the way that they were? She would never have enough power. Alexis needed power to be happy, and he long ago realized she would do whatever it took. Armbruster understood what was happening. He had lost his child and his wife in one swift move. He closed his eyes. All he wanted was to do was sleep. He did not want to think about anything else. Yarland opened the large golden book. He flipped through the pages looking for something in particular. He scratched his head and untied and retied his ribbon holding his hair in place. His beard itched. Everything annoyed him at the moment. He struggled to concentrate on the task at hand. Halfway through the book, he stopped. He found what he'd been looking for, a remarkable spell, the spell of insight. It would work better than any other. He looked at the long list of ingredients and wondered if they had those in the tower. He shrugged his shoulders and made a list. He closed the book, placing it carefully back in its secret place. He left the room on a mission to get the items he would need. The spell also required the assistance of 2 other warlocks. He wondered if the others had been able to get the rest of the guiders together to perform the spell to protect the planet. Oh well, he thought. No time to worry about that for now. Time to work. Time to focus on taking care of Alexis and the spell of insight. It took priority, and he would let Armbruster sleep for now. No need to tell him anything. He would wait to speak with him. Also, he wanted to keep his mind off Alexis and the missing child. Best to just leave him alone, thought Yarland, as he walked to the tower, feeling empowered. So this chapter was a little short, but it is leading to the chapter. Chapter 6 is the chapter you definitely do not want to miss. I'm going to tell you that right now. So we will get into chapter 6 next week. Be sure to stay healthy and happy, and I hope you enjoyed the chapter, and we will see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.